Thank you so much for being here today.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
Absolutely, absolutely. We're so excited to have you here. Both, the Cruel and Unusual Therapy saga was great.
Thank you.
It was awesome. And I want to give a congratulations because they were nominated for Best Comedic Short Film, for Best Actress, which is you, the Spirit Award, and the Committee Choice Award. So congratulations.
Wow, that's awesome. Thank you.
You're very welcome. You're very welcome. So I wanted you to go ahead, just open up with us a little bit about, like your journey as a filmmaker.
Oh, the whole journey as a filmmaker? Well, I started, I guess, in college as a theater major, actually, which was largely because Rutgers at the time wasn't offering a film major. So I used that as my workaround.
Okay.
But because I had a very supportive professor who knew that I was going to be headed in the film direction, he allowed me to take my theater thesis and turn it into a film. So that was my first foray into filmmaking. My senior year of college, I made my first film with his support. And then I've been making shorts ever since. And I'm working on writing my first feature now, but we're not quite there yet.
It's still in the works.
Yeah, it's still a journey. The journey goes on.
It continues on. Now, I would like for you to open us and tell us about what inspired you to make Cruel and Unusual Therapy 1 and then 2.
Well, it's a sort of true story, very loosely based on a true story.
Okay.
I was in therapy, as I believe that most of us should be in therapy.
Yes.
But I was in therapy with a young man who happened to be frustratingly good looking. And I thought, this is so detrimental to my own mental health. I don't know why you're here. I'm here about my insecurities, and I have to stare at a male model. Thank you for that. And that kind of inspired me to write the piece. It's not true to life. For his sake, I don't ever say his name, and it's not true to life. I will say that a million times over.
Okay.
But definitely loosely inspired by just all of the thoughts that were going through my head during those therapy sessions, which clearly were not healthy.
Well, I thank you for the vulnerability and opening up. I mean, I was watching the film and I was just cracking up because I'm like, I can see myself once upon a time being like this too, and being, I think we can easily say like there's a little bit of like being boy crazy, right? And liking guys and having crushes and crushes can be fun, right? Like they can be fun, they can be harmless, It is interesting when it is in a therapy and setting, because you're like, all right, I'm here to kind of get better,
and there's an inherent power dynamic, and that becomes really problematic in that setting.
Yeah.
And that was hopefully what I was playing off of there.
I think it was very well executed.
Thank you.
We all loved it. We thought it was super funny. It really played on to kind of like just what it is to be a girl sometimes.
Yeah, I hope so. I'm glad it's pseudo-relatable. That's what I was going for.
It was very relatable. It was so funny. I was so I saw it with my husband, and he was like, "Are all of you girls like that?" And I was like, "I know I was."
Yep. Yeah.
I know I was. I was very, very boy. I always had crushes, and I think with your films, you portray it. Of course, there's an extra element where it kind of goes maybe an extra step further. You can say, okay, I remember this. I know what this is. You know what I mean? And then I also think there's like that healthy approach too as well, where you kind of just say, all right, it's okay, but let's also kind of reel it back in, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'm always curious to hear the male perspective when they see these films, because I write from a perspective that I know, and obviously other women relate to me, but it's funny to me to hear what men think of it, because I guess to them it's new and they don't realize, oh, so women have these thoughts too. I had no idea women can be horn dogs too.
Yeah, I think, and I feel like in society it's always the guys, right? We see in film, it's always the guys, it's always the guys' perspective, it's always how the guys are, kind of going over the top and pursuing girls, and they're girl crazy, and all that they're thinking about is like that hot girl from whatever. But I think it's refreshing to also see like, hey, we women, we're humans too, and we're not perfect, we are flawed, and we've got these elements too that are pretty comedic as well.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But also touching in with mental health too, and and the topic of therapy, you know, as you mentioned, most of us, if we're not in it, then we should be in it. I know I have had a couple wonderful years of therapy, and
Good.
you know what I mean? And it is great and it's refreshing, and I think it's great to kind of take whatever problems that we have and put that out there, put it on the line, and work through it.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
It should be required for
Mhm.
everyone. I don't think everybody needs to be in therapy for the duration of their life, but at least for periods, especially when you're struggling most of all. And that's what I was trying to put on screen. Like, here's somebody who's struggling. It's still funny. And sometimes therapy is funny. You can
Yeah.
laugh with your therapist. I think people who haven't been think maybe this is going to be too serious and I'm going to come in crying every day, but it's not necessarily true. You can laugh in therapy too.